I'm a Sayoni volunteer. Sayoni, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is a local group that advocates for queer women's rights and aims to empower LGBTQ women. Someone asked me to come out here and speak today. Not really sure why, but I have to confess something first. I hate public speaking, but I'm here, right? So you might be wondering what on earth is this woman doing on stage in the first place. I kind of blame Alex Au. Back in the early 2000s, when I was working with PLU, he put me on stage despite much protest and told me to speak about something I can barely remember now. Some might say I was fundamentally a reluctant activist. Alex taught me courage to organize when things were so homophobic in the 90s. I remember attending a PLU session in 1993 at a substation when I was still a student. I am that old. It was a talk addressing homophobic legislation in Singapore. Even then, they were one of the first groups to try and organize. Started a community newsletter, attempt to register. You must remember that at this point of time, there was no internet and barely even any pages, if you all know what pages are. They really were the spark that gave so many other groups hope to start up. You know, activism is really like the dandelion dispersing its seeds by the wind. You never know where you will end up in, but you disperse with hope that it takes root eventually. There was some hope then, but there was also a lot of anger. And what really got me angry was seeing LGBT women sidelined. When lesbian women's support groups are mysteriously cancelled or censored by the venue organizers. When even in the LGBT community, queer women are underrepresented and invisible. When Lawrence Kwong, my best friend, mentioned Sayoni by name as one of the dangerous elements of the gay agenda that good God-fearing people should watch out for. We started Sayoni in 2007 because we recognized this lack of representation and wanted to change it. When Indignation was started in 2006, it was dominated by men in both contributions and attendance. Sayoni was one of the first women contributors to his program. In 2011, we fought our way into CEDAW. Kelly, Vanessa, somewhere around here, and I running like headless chickens from conference to conference, hooking our printers up the hallways, churning our reports and lobbying various groups to put queer women's issues on the agenda. It was our first time there and we had to be heard. 2 years later, we were further consulted at the United Nations Asia Pacific Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity Consultation in Nepal, where we had the opportunity to feedback on the state of human rights in Singapore. This opened the door for various gay activists who saw regional work as a way to hold the government accountable to its promises. It was no small surprise when subsequent constitutional challenges cited Singapore's CEDAW's obligations as precedents for anti-discrimination legislation. During this time, we kept local work a priority. Without local work, regional work means nothing. We've had so many wonderful and valuable people come and go, and I'm indebted to many of them for their countless contributions. But I mean, this is the natural progression of any group. I always say to our volunteers, you know, if we want to leave, make sure you're a leader somewhere else. I don't think there are so many opportunities like that for young activists these days, but it takes time and perseverance to find them. Perhaps there aren't enough older activists looking out for younger ones, or perhaps it's time for the current generation to give back. Maybe we need more supportive people kicking us in the backside, telling us to wake up our idea and do something. I think as women, whatever we identify as, we often forget that visibility is so important. Being visible means you have more connections, more opportunities to share tears, fears, and happiness, among other things. It helps your activism. You can start dialogues at home, in the community, with friends, with ourselves. The freer you are from emotional and psychological barriers, the more you can hold a space for yourself and for others. We also sometimes forget how privilege is also a big part of visibility. Where we come from, what we look like, how we express ourselves, we are all reflective of messages we have internalized, telling us we are not entitled to be seen and heard. We need to be conscious of those messages, to consciously push them away, because regardless of where we are from or whatever we identify as, women, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, introvert, extrovert, vertically challenged individuals such as myself, or Chinese, Malay, Indian, other, we all deserve to be visible. Thank you.